Hello everyone, this is Chromatic Photophore. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Glitch plugin produced by Soundspot. So, I'm just going to be testing this thing by routing a sine wave from 3xOSC through to it using FL Studio. Just got some basic notes all prepared and all set up. So, this is what it'll sound like. Just so you can get kind of a reference of what the plugin does versus the basic sound. So, Glitch is a multi-effect plugin with a lot of different stuff crammed into it. You'll see that there's a gate section, a filter, a drive, glitch, and space section. Bunch of little numbers with arrows, which I'll describe. There's an input volume, an output volume, and a power button. So we'll go through each of these individually, and we'll try to go through fast because you want to see if it's worth it. So here we go. First and foremost, let me turn the plugin on, and we're going to go over the gate. The gate function, basically what this does is this can be programmed to tell Glitch when to drop your sound out completely. So it has a little step sequencer up here, very similar to FL Studios, but instead of like playing a sound when you have a note here, you can actually determine when it'll cut sounds out. So a blue note means sound is present. A black note means that you're instructing the program to cut the sound out entirely. So I set it up for a very basic old school gate that's been used in trance and techno millions of times. If I play now, this is what I get. So we're already seeing that the thing has some fairly useful features at times. You can set this up in all kinds of different ways to produce any number of different gates. So if I wanted to, I could set up a classic trance gate. It'll play a little slow at first. Now that doesn't sound like a trance gate at all, really. It sounds too slow. That's where this little section with all these little numbers and fractions comes in. This is what determines how fast this step sequencer plays. Right now it's set to play out 1 bar. I can set it to do half a bar, and let's see what it does now. Boom, trance gate. And this thing can be sped up significantly, 1/8 of a bar. Now we're starting to see that Glitch is living up to its name a little bit more. You can go all the way to 1/128th of a bar. That's going so fast now that it almost literally is doing a kind of frequency modulation, basically sound synthesis, which is kind of a nice thing there. Now, let's go back to the basic, let's go to the half bar. So this smoothness tab determines how quickly the sound fades in and out with each of these little blue notes. So if I have it all the way to the left, very short, that's basically a near instantaneous jump in volume, and it produces that rather unpleasant clicking sound. For some people that might be desirable, for others maybe not as much. So to get rid of that, you just move the smoothness section over just a little bit, and that removes that very sharp beginning. Now I can move this all the way over to the right, and we get a very smooth, flowy sound. So it just basically gives the sound a longer attack and a longer release, so it fades in and out. There is a filter section, which has basically a low cut and high cut built in. That's what these little dials with these numbers are. So if I play a note, I can see where the note is in the middle of this spectrogram here. So I'm playing a 3-note chord, see all that? I can use this, the low cut, to remove low frequencies, or attenuate them at least. Same thing with the high cut. Now you'll notice a bigger difference with these filters if we use something that's got a little bit more sonic character. So just turning my 3xOSC into a sawtooth sound. Little painfully jarring, but that's kind of the point here. So we can see this is a much more sonically rich sound. Let's see what happens if I drop the high cut. So that softens it significantly. Same thing if we do some bass notes. Let's play the same thing, but very low note. Or even lower, perhaps. So let's fade the low cut up. So that just helps remove the bass and attenuate those frequencies. There is a drive section that adds a mild amount of distortion. We're going to send it back to the sine wave so you can really hear it. So one thing that's interesting about this drive section is it actually kind of decreases the volume. It does sort of an automatic gain control to adjust the volume so you're not cranking the sound too high as you raise it. It's a very basic sort of clipping sound. So if I just play a single note, so notice it actually got quieter. It's kind of harder to hear. Let me turn this up a bit. Probably even more. So you can hear it just sort of makes the sound a little fuzzier by adding harmonics. That's what all these little peaks are right here. If I turn it down, you'll notice on the output that it gets louder over here. Basically, the drive is just putting more emphasis on the harmonics, and so the bass volume of the fundamental drops as a result. There's this glitch section, which does all sorts of weird stuff to the sound. To really illustrate this, I'm going to turn off the gate by making every note blue. So we just have a basic note now. Turn off the drive and turn this down a little. So now if I go into this here little glitch section, this basically does a sort of pitch drop, and you can twist it into set it to different LFO rates. The LFO, of course, determines how quickly it does the pitch drop. So if I set it to bar, it also adds a little bit of extra sonic character to the sound. So for instance, if I just play a note now, so we basically see the fundamental starting here, sliding down the frequency wave, and we see and hear a lot of interesting little squiggly sounds up top produced by the glitch section. If I want it to go faster, I do a half note, or half bar, quarter notes, all the way down to 1/64th, which is a little bonkers, but it's fun. There's a space section that introduces delay into the mix with like a number of different settings, from delay A all the way over to delay F. So for instance, if I play A, just a random chord, almost more of a slight echo, whereas if I put it all the way over to F, a very clicky sort of delay sound, which furthers that little glitchy effect that the plugin is really built for. So those are all the main features. There's this sort of bypass switch which turns everything off, so you can just kind of hear the effects individually. Make sure you're getting something that's to your liking. Input volume, output volume, those are both pretty self-explanatory. So now as far as personal opinions of the plugin, to me this thing has a lot of individual features that I don't really think are all that good by themselves. Like the gate, if you need a quick gate, this will do the job. But I'm a little bugged that there's not a quick shut-off switch for each individual section. Like if I wanted to turn off the gate function really quickly, I can't. I have to go through each of these little blue things and click on them one by one. So that gets old pretty quickly. I would love it if there was a bypass switch for each section so that I can automate a lot of these features a little easier. Like if I wanted to turn the gate off for a second, just boom, it's gone. Versus turning off the whole plugin to do that. Same kind of thing for the filter that's built in. It's a very basic filter. There's no Q adjustment, no resonance to it. So it actually, and I don't believe that it's actually dropping the sound with the filter very much, like maybe 12 dB, maybe, as you filter it. So there's a lot of stuff that bleeds through, it feels like, and it simply just isn't the highest quality filter. It doesn't give you very much control at all. The drive, very basic, it's basically light clipping as far as I understand, just not very fancy in that area. No settings to change it to any other type of distortion, which would be a very useful feature. Glitch, this is the section that frustrates me the most. I feel like it could actually use significant expansion, where instead of just doing a pitch drop with a little bit of squiggly harmonics up top, I would love it if you could reverse the pitch drop, so make it a pitch rise, or turn it into a pitch stutter, like just actually turn it into a pitch LFO. Something like that would be kind of fancy with that, or even something where I could adjust any of those features as desired. The delay actually has a lot of pretty stuff in it, but it ultimately still comes down to the same issue where there's where to me it's just not that useful of a thing. It doesn't give me very much control over the character of the delay. I feel like a lot of the delays either have an echo response that is too short or that is too high. And as a result, I just don't see those features by themselves being very useful. Where the plugin does shine, like if there's a lot of things about it I'm not a big fan of personally, but where the plugin really shines is in combining all of these different features. So for instance, let me go back to that trance gate that I did earlier. So it should be like 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's another thing. It kind of doesn't delineate all of these very clearly, so it can be kind of hard to read. There we go. To make sure you're mapping it out the way you want. So going back to that trance gate again. Well, that was a moment where the delay was actually kind of pretty. So let's decrease the smoothness a little, make it a little less fadey and yowdy. That could be bigger right there. That's kind of hard to click on. There we go. And we're going to turn the delay off temporarily. So again, I got my gate. Now let's throw some glitch in it. So you can see, kind of playing with it, you can get a lot more fun out of it than if you could just with any one of these individual little pieces. So that's where the plugin really is quite fantastic. It's really aimed at combining all of these features, not just using one or two by themselves. So if you're getting it for one individual effect, there's other stuff that you could get that does it better. You could easily get something like Gate Lab by Audio Modern that gives you way more functionality and is much easier to control than this particular gate is. But when you're getting a multi-effect plugin like this, you're not really paying to get any one thing that's better than another. You're paying to get the whole package, which again, when combined is fantastic. By itself, it's kind of bland. So as far as whether or not I would personally use this in a track, I've had this plugin for a few months now, and this is like the probably third or fourth time I've actually tried to touch the thing. I haven't personally been all that impressed with it, just because I don't find much use for this plugin with my specific production style. I don't generally need gates with what I make. I can get better distortion with other things. I have other plugins that can handle my desired glitch effects rather than just having one that I'm kind of stuck with. And I can produce better delays than this plugin can produce with other dedicated delay plugins. Filters, I have several that are better. So again, for me personally, this is not the best plugin in the world. I don't know that I would pay full price for it. I got it on sale, which is why I got it. At some point, what I would like to do is just really try to automate the life out of this thing, to make a little glitched track to really illustrate what you can do with this plugin. Because there's plenty that you can do based on what you saw. Like, this can actually go into some really neat sound synthesis opportunities. It's just a matter of really sitting down and setting your mind to actually making something with it. Is it something that I really want to use a whole lot? Definitely not. Other people might find it significantly more useful than me. But other than that, that is my review of Glitch by Soundspot. So, I'll be producing another video very shortly. Until then, enjoy, and I'll see y'all next time.